When life hurts, the pain can feel overwhelming, like a storm raging inside your heart. It is in these moments of deep sorrow and struggle that we often ask, why must I suffer? Why does this pain not cease? Yet, pain is not the enemy, it is a messenger, a teacher sent to awaken something within us, a deeper understanding, a greater strength, and a more profound hope. When life hurts, it strips away the distractions and forces us to face our true selves. It reveals what we hold on to and what we need to release. It calls us to look beyond the surface and to seek the source of true healing. This pain, though heavy and hard to bear, is also an invitation to turn our eyes upward and inward, to find comfort in a love that never fails, and to discover that even in our brokenness, we are never forsaken. In the depths of hurt, our hearts are tender, and it is in this tenderness that grace finds its way. Grace that soothes the weary soul, that breathes peace into anxious minds, and that rekindles the faintest spark of hope. When life hurts, grace reminds us that our pain has meaning, that it is part of a greater story where suffering leads to redemption and where tears water the soil of new beginnings. Pain humbles us. It teaches us to let go of pride and control and to depend on a strength beyond ourselves. It draws us into a place of surrender, not surrender to defeat, but surrender to a higher purpose that sustains us when our own strength fails. In that surrender, we find rest, renewal, and the courage to take one more step, even when the path is shrouded in darkness. When life hurts, remember that you are not alone. There is a presence that walks with you, carrying you when you cannot walk alone, whispering peace when your heart is troubled, and holding you close through every trial. This presence knows your pain intimately and offers a love so vast it can heal every wound and transform every sorrow. Your hurt will not have the final word. Like the dawn that follows the darkest night, healing and hope will come. Your scars will become testimonies of endurance and faith. The pain you bear today will shape you into a person stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. It will deepen your capacity to love and to inspire others who walk the same road. So when life hurts, do not despair. Let your pain lead you to the truth that you are held, that you are loved beyond measure, and that from this hurt, a new strength will rise. Your suffering is not wasted. It is the soil from which hope grows, and through it, your life will be renewed and transformed. When life hurts, the pain that we experience can feel unbearable, consuming every thought and shaking the foundation of our very being. Yet in the midst of this suffering lies a profound truth. Pain is not just something to endure or escape from. It is a powerful teacher. It comes to awaken us, to open our eyes to realities we might otherwise overlook, and to lead us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Pain forces us to slow down and pay attention. In the rush of everyday life, it is easy to become distracted, to live superficially, and to ignore the deeper questions of meaning, purpose, and connection. But when pain strikes, it interrupts this flow. It compels us to confront what we might have been avoiding, our fears, our weaknesses, our need for healing. This confrontation is the beginning of transformation because it calls us to look honestly at our lives and to ask what truly matters. More than that, pain teaches us about the limits of our own strength. We often believe that we can handle anything, that we can carry every burden alone. But pain shatters this illusion. It reveals our vulnerability and reminds us that we are human, fragile, imperfect, and in need of help. This realization can be humbling, but it is also freeing, for it opens the door to receive support, compassion, and grace from others, and from a higher power. Pain also awakens empathy. When we have suffered, we are more able to understand the suffering of others. Our own wounds become a bridge of compassion that connects us to those who are hurting. This deepened empathy enriches our relationships and gives us a greater capacity to love and to serve. It turns personal suffering into a source of shared healing and community. Perhaps most importantly, pain awakens hope. Though the present moment may be dark, pain points us toward the possibility of something better. It teaches us that healing is possible and that growth often comes through struggle. Just as a seed must be buried in the soil and face the darkness before it can sprout and grow, so too must we pass through seasons of pain before we can experience renewal. Hope is the light that pain cannot extinguish. It is the quiet assurance that this suffering will not last forever, that new life will come, and that we will emerge from the trial stronger and wiser. Pain awakens this hope by breaking through the complacency of life and stirring our souls to long for healing, peace, and restoration. So when life hurts, do not despise the pain or wish it away too quickly. Listen closely to its lessons. Allow it to awaken a deeper understanding within you, a clearer sense of your true needs, your strength, and your connection to others. Let it lead you to hope, knowing that this moment of hurt is not the end, but the beginning of a journey toward healing and a richer, more meaningful life. When life brings pain and suffering, it exposes a deep and universal truth. We all need grace. Hurt is a powerful mirror that reflects our vulnerabilities, our limitations, and our need for something beyond ourselves. It strips away our self-reliance and pride, revealing the heart's true condition, one that longs for mercy, forgiveness, and restoration. In this painful place, we are invited to seek a healing that only grace can provide. Grace is more than just kindness or sympathy. It is a divine gift, unearned, undeserved, and freely given, that meets us right where we are, no matter how broken or lost we feel. Hurt opens the door for grace to enter because it makes us humble enough to receive it. When we are wounded, we can no longer pretend that we have it all together. We are confronted with our need for healing that goes beyond physical recovery, reaching deep into the soul. This invitation to grace is a call to stop running from our pain and start facing it honestly. It is natural to want to numb the hurt, to distract ourselves, or to deny the depth of our wounds. But true healing begins when we acknowledge the pain and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. By embracing our brokenness, we open ourselves to the transforming power of grace. Grace works quietly, but powerfully. It restores what was lost, mends what was torn, and gives strength when we are weak. It brings peace in the midst of turmoil and hope where despair once lived. Grace reminds us that no matter how far we have fallen, no matter how deep the hurt, we are not beyond the reach of healing and renewal. The journey toward healing is not always easy or quick. Hurt often comes with scars, and the process of recovery requires patience, faith, and courage. Yet, grace is sufficient. It is the steady presence that holds us up when we stumble, the gentle hand that guides us through the darkness, and the light that leads us to a place of wholeness. When hurt reveals our need for grace, it also teaches us to extend that same grace to ourselves and to others. We learn that healing is not about perfection or forgetting our pain, but about accepting our humanity and embracing compassion. This graceful perspective transforms how we relate to ourselves and the world, turning wounds into sources of wisdom and kindness. So when life hurts, do not resist the pain or try to face it alone. Let hurt reveal your need for grace, a grace that offers true healing and renewal. Seek it with an open heart, knowing that this grace meets you in your brokenness and leads you toward a life filled with peace, strength, and hope. In this sacred space of grace, hurt becomes the beginning of a beautiful and transformative journey. When life hurts, the weight of suffering often brings us face to face with our own limitations. It humbles us because it reveals what we cannot control, what we cannot fix, and what we cannot bear alone. In those moments of vulnerability, we learn that true strength is not found in self-sufficiency, but in surrender and intentional letting go, and in leaning on a power far greater than ourselves. Suffering breaks the illusion that we are invincible or that we have all the answers. It shows us the boundaries of our own strength and forces us to admit our weakness. This admission is not a sign of failure, but the beginning of wisdom. Humility grows when we accept that we are human, imperfect, fragile, and deeply in need of help. It is in this humility that the door opens for healing and growth. Surrender, then, becomes a sacred act. It is not about giving up or resigning to defeat, but about releasing our tight grip on control. To surrender is to say, I cannot carry this burden alone. I need help. I trust there is a higher power who can sustain me. This surrender is a courageous act of faith, a willingness to lay down our pride and to receive strength from beyond ourselves. This higher strength, whether we call it divine presence, God's grace, or a universal power, is the source of true resilience. It is a strength that carries us when our own legs give out, a light that guides us through the darkest valleys, and a peace that calms the storms within our hearts. When we depend on this strength, we find that we are not alone in our suffering. We are held, supported, and renewed. Dependence on this higher power transforms suffering into a spiritual journey. It changes how we perceive our pain, from a meaningless burden into a purposeful passage. It teaches us to trust in the unfolding of life's mysteries, even when we cannot understand why we suffer or where the path will lead. This trust nurtures hope and courage, helping us to keep moving forward, step by step. Through surrender and dependence, we are also invited into a deeper relationship with the divine. This relationship becomes a source of comfort and guidance. It reminds us that we are loved unconditionally, that our pain matters, and that healing is possible. This connection strengthens us in ways the world cannot, offering an inner peace that surpasses all understanding. Suffering, then, is not wasted. Though painful, it serves a divine purpose by breaking down our self-reliance and inviting us into reliance on a greater strength. It humbles us, teaches us to surrender, and leads us into dependence on a love and power that never fails. So when life hurts and you feel overwhelmed, remember that humility and surrender are not signs of defeat. They are the keys to a deeper strength and peace found in depending on a higher power. In this surrender, you will discover a strength beyond yourself, one that carries you through suffering and leads you toward hope and renewal. When life hurts, the feeling of isolation can be overwhelming. The ache in our hearts can convince us that no one understands our suffering, that we are alone in the darkness. Yet, this is far from the truth. In the deepest valleys of pain and sorrow, a loving presence is always near, walking beside us, carrying us, and offering comfort when words fail. This presence is constant, unfailing, and filled with compassion. The awareness that we are never alone in our pain brings immense comfort. It reminds us that no matter how isolated or broken we feel, there is a divine companionship that never abandons us. This presence knows our suffering intimately. Every tear, every sigh, every unspoken fear. It understands our weakness and stands ready to provide strength and peace beyond human comprehension. This loving presence does not promise to remove all pain instantly or erase every hardship. This loving presence does not promise to remove all pain instantly or erase every hardship. Instead, it promises to be with us through the storm, to shelter us in the midst of the tempest, and to guide us toward healing. It is a refuge for the weary soul and a steady hand when the path feels uncertain. Knowing that we do not walk alone allows us to face suffering with greater courage and hope. In moments of deep hurt, this presence offers a peace that transcends understanding. It quiets the restless heart and soothes anxious minds. It reminds us that pain is not the end of our story and that beyond the suffering lies renewal. This peace is a gift, unearned and freely given, that sustains us when everything else seems to fail. Moreover, the awareness of this companionship transforms our pain. It gives us the strength to endure, the hope to persevere, and the courage to trust, even when the way forward is unclear. We learn that suffering does not isolate us, but draws us closer to the divine love that sustains all life. This presence becomes a wellspring of comfort and resilience. The presence that walks with us also invites us into a deeper relationship, a relationship grounded in trust, love, and faith. It encourages us to bring our pain honestly, without pretense or shame, knowing that we are fully known and fully loved. This intimate connection becomes a source of healing in itself, reminding us that we are valued beyond measure. This truth, that we are never alone in our pain, is a beacon of light in the darkest nights. It calls us to lean into the divine presence, to seek solace in prayer or meditation, and to open our hearts to the comfort that surrounds us. When we embrace this companionship, we find that even the heaviest burdens become lighter. So when life hurts and you feel isolated, remember this: you are never truly alone. A loving presence walks with you, carrying you through every moment of suffering. This presence brings peace, strength, and hope, reminding you that beyond the pain, there is a future filled with healing and grace. In this divine companionship, you will find the courage to face each day and the assurance that you are deeply loved. When life hurts, the immediate focus is often on the pain itself, the sharpness of the wound, the weight of sorrow, the depth of loss. But pain is not the final chapter of our story. Healing follows hurt, and with time, those wounds begin to transform. The scars that remain are not simply reminders of suffering, they are powerful testimonies to our endurance, our resilience, and the faith that carried us through. Healing is a journey, not a quick fix. It often takes time, patience, and intentional effort. After the storm of pain passes, there is a period of rebuilding, where we gather the broken pieces of ourselves and begin to mend what was shattered. This process is rarely easy. Sometimes healing requires us to face our pain again, to forgive, to release bitterness, or to ask for help. But each step forward is a victory, a sign that the hurt does not have the final word. The scars we carry are evidence that we survived, that we did not give up even when the odds seemed overwhelming. They tell a story of endurance. Each scar marks a place where we were broken, but chose to keep going. These marks are not signs of weakness, but symbols of strength. They remind us and others that pain was met with courage and suffering was met with perseverance. Beyond endurance, scars become testimonies of faith. This scar was a commitment to God's love and His Word, He commissioned us to face when life hurts deeply. It is often faith that sustains us. Faith gives us hope when despair threatens to consume us. It anchors us when the winds of hardship blow fiercely. Our scars speak of a trust in something greater, a faith that even in suffering there is purpose and healing. This faith is not always easy to hold on to, but it is a light that never fades. Scars also connect us to others. When we share our stories of hurt and healing, we offer encouragement to those who are struggling. Our scars become bridges of compassion, showing others that they too can endure, that they too can heal. There is power in vulnerability, and through our openness, we create a community of support and understanding. It is important to embrace your scars, not hide them. They are part of your journey and proof of your resilience. They are sacred reminders that you faced adversity and came through it. Rather than feeling shame or regret, choose to see your scars as badges of honor, emblems of a life lived with courage and faith. Healing transforms pain into something beautiful. It reshapes our wounds into stories of hope, reminding us that no matter how deep the hurt, there is always the possibility of renewal. The scars you carry are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a new chapter, filled with strength, wisdom, and grace. So when life hurts, hold on to the truth that healing will come. Trust that your scars will become testimonies, not just of what you endured, but of the faith and courage that carried you through. In this transformation, pain becomes purpose, brokenness becomes beauty, and hurt becomes hope.